I'm Sean Bose, concert visual designer in Los Angeles, California, and today we're talking to VJ Kobra. Kobra is a VJ and visual designer based out of Tampa, Florida. She came onto the scene relatively recently in 2019, but her tenacity has taken her to some amazing places already. She built up her network and reputation rapidly after doing about 200 live stream sets during 2020. Whew. And since concerts came back, she's been touring regularly with Shlump, including gigs at Forbidden Kingdom, Soundhaven, and Bass Canyon. I'm excited to chat with her and discover her secrets behind her success so far and the lessons that she's learned while ramping up in an industry as many were leaving it behind. Kobra, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hell yeah, I'm super excited to talk to you. Let's just start at the beginning. Can you describe for us the moment or series of events that led to you saying, I want to be a VJ as a career?
So it really started back. My friend Caitlin, she passed away, and I always hate to start on this note, but she's such a big part of it. She passed away back in like 2016, and she was so involved in the EDM scene. She absolutely loved it, would go to Red Rocks for festivals, everything. She was so involved. And after she passed away, I got into EDM. I started listening to all of her SoundCloud mixes. It was like, it became my whole life. So I went to my first rave and I was like, okay, I got to do more of this. And then I went to EDC Orlando, and that was like my big first like production event where it was like, oh my God, like I had no idea this type of like production existed. I'm from South Dakota. We don't have those types of concerts there, you know? So that was like the first time it got in my head, like, holy shit, like this is a job that people do. Like there's all these different jobs of festival production. And then I went to my next festival and I like literally melted into a shrub for 6 hours, watched one single stage. And after that, I was like, I have to do that. I literally have to make it my job. And the very next day, I was talking to my friend about it on the way home. And she was like, look, you got the connection, you got like the ambition. She's like, you just need to do it. So after that, I was like, all right, I'm becoming a DJ. It's gonna happen. And it did somehow.
Amazing. Yeah. There's always that moment of getting your mind blown at the beginning of our journey, I feel like. So what were those next steps? Like once you decided to do that, how did you like figure out, what this all was and what people were doing?
So it just was a lot of like deep internet dives of just like literally Googling EDM visuals. Like, what is like, how do I do EDM visuals? Going into every corner of the internet that I could find and just like piecing it together. And I eventually found Dabsy Daisy because I went on Twitter and I looked up like VJ laptop. And I was like, there's got to be some Twitter thread of somebody talking about a VJ laptop. And I found her and I kind of just, hey, I know I need a laptop. I know I need this stuff. Like, can you help me out? And she just sent me a whole list of like, hey, this is how you really get started. This is like a little cheat sheet. And from that, it was just connecting with other VJs through social media. And they were the ones who really helped me get all the information to be like, I need a laptop. I need a controller. I need Resolume. That is the first step. We need to get that stuff. So I credit DJs to helping me get my start.
Nice. Yeah. So you literally just like searched up some people, found people who were putting some of this information out there and like got in the DMs, started conversations and asking questions from
Yep,
people who are
exactly.
doing it.
Yep, 100%.
Incredible. Yeah, I read in one of your other interviews that you have out on the internet, which I will link below, YouTube style, that this quote that kind of sums up what you just said. But I started my deep dive into internet searches in desperation of finding out what exactly my dream career was. After too many hours spent online, I searched around for some scratch paper and made my official to-do list on how to become a VJ.
Yes.
Uh, Aside from, those couple of things, laptop, controller, what do you remember what else was on that list? Do you still have that list?
I do. I do still have that list. So it's funny because that list, it wasn't even so much about the VJ side of it. It was more of the big financial hurdle that I had to get through in order to get all of this stuff. It was like mainly like what I ended up doing was going to community college to get like a Pell Grant. And I went to for computer science to like a degree where I needed a nice laptop. So I was just trying to figure out, how do I get into college? How do I get a Pell Grant? How do I get this money? Because I don't have $2,000 to buy a laptop. I don't have this money. I was working full time, paying all of my bills and barely having money left over. So that first VJ list was really like, how the hell do I get into college? How the hell do I get this money? And slowly started checking them off, and then got all my equipment somehow.
Oh wow, that is
Yeah.
a cool that's a cool technique. I never
Yeah.
really thought about that.
I had to make it work.
Yeah, find a degree that you need to buy a laptop for anyway, and and get that government money. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. So yeah, did you continue, did you or are you continuing with school in a computer science degree, or what's the education track?
Yeah, so I originally honestly went for like digital forensics, and then I ended up switching over to cybersecurity. I did the cybersecurity associate's degree, just online the whole time. I was like doing the VJ stuff and the college stuff. But truly cybersecurity, all of that, it didn't have any passion behind it. I was just kind of doing the assignments to do it, to get the good grades, to keep my grants and everything. So at this point, it's like I have the degree, but I'm not really doing anything with it. I'm not really passionate about it. It got me a lot of good information on like computers, which is super helpful for our industry. And I feel very grateful for that. And I've been able to troubleshoot a lot of things, but overall, it was kind of just like, get a degree, get it over with, get my money and get out.
Nice.
So
Hell yeah. I love that. I mean, you definitely don't. I get that question a lot. Like, do you need to study something specific to like do this type of stuff? And it seems like everybody's kind of done something different, or or not anything at all, and kind of found their way in. But this is the first instance I've heard of getting the degree in order to finance the real dream, which is it's an interesting angle on it. It's you got to hack the system however you can.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, my mom taught me all those little finance tricks when I was younger, and it paid off. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, because that's something that is kind of hard to get over in the beginning. There is kind of a barrier to entry as far as like needing a pretty powerful laptop and like a bunch of content. You can get some for free, but there's a bit of overhead to becoming a VJ.
There really is. And people, they never really talk about it. They never want to talk about that part. They'll give you all this information, but it's like a lot of people don't have those thousands of dollars to just up front. And, one day I hope there will be more access to like scholarships, grants, and just more knowledge around VJing to get the people who can't afford it in. Because that's a lot of creativity that's being held back because people literally just can't afford it. So that's one part that really does suck, honestly.
Yeah. A lot of digital creative fields have that problem.
Yeah.
Access. So let's rewind a little bit back to those early days again. What resources were you finding? Who were you learning from in the early days? Like, how did you go from deciding to want to do this, learning how to do it, and then maybe getting your first gig? Can you tell us about that time in your life?
Yeah, so it was, finding that first gig was always like super hard. I feel like that's one of the harder parts, is to like make those connections. So again, social media really, really helped with it. And one person that really helped was John Bainter and Ben Grossman as well from Orlando. I remember at the time was super into the EDM scene already, a lot into the underground bass community. And I was in all of these Facebook groups. And somebody had posted on the Asteria, it was like a little boutique festival. and was like, hey, who's the visual artist for this? And I was like, this might be my in, because Asteria Music Festival, it's right there. So they tagged the guy, and then it was John Bainter, and I messaged him, and I was like, hey, I really need to learn how to do this. I have the equipment. I just don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to mix anything. I'm just clueless. And he was like, well, you know what? I'm actually looking for an apprentice. He's like, why don't you come down to Bass Nights this weekend in Orlando? We'll kind of show you the ropes, and we'll get you your start. So I showed up that Friday. I drove 2 hours after work from Jacksonville. And Bainter, he actually wasn't able to be there. It was Ben Grossman. And Ben was just like, oh, he was like, here, just take over my controller. Just like play, just mix on it. Here's how you mix the faders together. Once I actually saw like, oh, it's literally just a controller to some layers and some buttons, and you mix it together, and that's what VJ is. And once I got that, it kind of clicked in my head a lot easier. And then they saw that I picked it up. So one of like the next events that came up, John hit me up and was like, hey, we need an outside DJ. If you want to come through, I'll set up the projector. He's like, we don't have a budget for you. You're not going to get paid, but at least you'll get your foot in. You'll try something. You'll get that first initial gig. So I was like, all right, I'm coming. And I remember being so excited, so nervous, so like, just you don't know what you're walking into, but that gig was like the first one, and I still remember it very, very fondly. I did a terrible job. It was one of the worst gigs I've ever done, but so memorable.
Yeah. Oh man, those are the those early days of gigs, getting paid in exposure and beer tickets and all. But you got it. That's an interesting story as well. You got in touch with another person and just showed a willingness to learn, and they happened to say, you know what, yeah, I'm kind of looking for somebody to teach. I could use a second pair of hands on some gigs. Come by. And you did, and that's what started it off.
Yeah.
Incredible. So what happened after that? You said, maybe it wasn't the best gig, but but you kind of stuck with this group of people doing some gigs. This is in like summer 2019, I'm assuming.
Yeah, this was summer 2019, and I mean, it was hard to get more bookings after that. It was kind of a point where I got my first gig on my own, where it's just me, the only VJ showing up. And that was with the same group of people with Bass Nights in Orlando. So that kind of just got my foot more in the door with like working with different venues and troubleshooting and having to figure things out. But after that, it was like, if you're not getting those consistent bookings, it can like really feel just hopeless. For a long time, I was like, okay, I'm not getting any more bookings. Like, it seems like they have these VJs. And honestly, for that first, like the 6 months after that, I wasn't getting booked at all. I was losing hope. I was making little tiny loops here and there, trying to keep my creativity flow, try to push like little snippets out on like Instagram and get my work out there. But it was honestly, it went on a decline. And by January 2020, I was questioning, am I going to get any more gigs? Is this even worth it? Like, is anything going to happen? And then live streams happened, and then my whole career took off. So it was really like something that was like, look, you're meant to do this, and an opportunity is going to come. But honestly, after those first initial bookings, I really didn't think it was going to work out. I was very, very hopeless for months on end. So.
Yeah, that sounds like it could definitely be discouraging.
Yeah, very discouraging.
Yeah, and then in kind of a strange twist of fate, shows going away jump-started the career.
Yeah.
How did you jump into the live stream game when those started out? Like, what was going through your head when shows stopped? How did you hear about these live stream opportunities, and how did you land that first one?
So when everything started shutting down, I mean, I had been going to all of these shows and stuff. So from like, I was just a concert goer at that point, I felt like. So I was like, man, all of my favorite events, I'm so upset, but I'll figure it out. And I was in a Twitter group chat that Peen Poon had started, and he had all of these VJs in it. And I remember Taylor Drew, she had posted a link and was like, hey guys, there's this live stream. If you want to sign up for it, it's going to be a very big live stream. Might as well. They need visual artists. Might as well do it. So I was like, screw it, whatever. I'll submit. I guess I'm a VJ. And then it was like maybe a month and a half later, and I'm getting tagged in all of these posts, and they're like VJ Kobra, VJ Kobra, and I'm like, what? And I see the lineup, and my name is on this live stream poster. And I was like, I had got no confirmation. I had no idea I was doing this event. So I was like, well, I was like, I guess I gotta, like, I still was not even good at VJing at all. I didn't understand transitions. I literally had no deck at all. I probably had like 20 clips. And I was like, well, I guess I gotta teach myself how to VJ now. I guess I gotta do this live stream. So it was really just that Twitter group chat where they're just like, yeah, apply to this. And then after I did that first one, it was just like wildfire, and it never stopped. So it was very weird just seeing my name on a flyer for the first time and being like, oh shit, okay, I guess I'm doing this.
I guess that's wild.
Yeah.
And what do you think you were doing in those first few that got you called back for the next one and the next one and the next one, up until you are doing 200 sets over, however many events?
It was, so that first one, there was a lot of different, I think there was over 100 artists on that stream. So it went out to a lot of different people, and a lot of my friends were watching. And the content I was using, people just loved. It was like weird YouTube rips, like the weirdest YouTube videos you could find, and people absolutely loved it. And for like the experimental bass music and the underground scene that I'm in, they're like, yes, like we need this. And everybody was so desperate for visual artists. They would like any visual artist you could find, they'd be like, can you do this live stream? So it was like there were so many opportunities that people were just reaching out to me all the time. And there was one of them, it was like Under the Sofa stream, something like that. It was literally like 2 days later. And they're just like, hey, we saw you on the Bass Lab stream. You want to do this stream this weekend? So I did a whole bunch of sets that weekend, got my name out even more. And it was just like, it was so many sets that my name was out there so much that people were just always referring me. It was just constant referrals, constantly being hit up for, hey, you want to do the stream? It was literally like every other day I was being hit up for a stream. It was insanity, honestly.
Yeah. So you were just staying active in the scene as much as possible.
Yeah, I did not stop at all.
Putting your name in front of everybody. How did you make this connection with Shlump initially? And can you just describe the, going from there to ending up touring with this guy?
Yeah, so it's really in a big part to the collective I'm in, Fract Alliance. I had done a actual, we went to a warehouse, recorded a stream together with like an actual LED wall, full setup. And that's where I met VJ, and he was like, hey, we really love your stuff. We want you to join Fract Alliance. We really want you on our team. And then not even a month later, I get a call, and they're like, look, we're working on this really big live stream called Summarize. There's going to be Wakan artists, Spicy Boys, all of these like names that I love. They're like, and you and Utah Visuals, you are going to be the VJs for it. You're going to have first pick. So you will be the artist. There was like, I think me and Utah did like 23 visual sets each. Like it was something crazy for that whole stream. And Shlump ended up being one of those artists. And at first it was just Shlump. So me and Utah were supposed to do like a visual back-to-back for it. And then Lucid ended up being added to the lineup. So they're like, okay, Kobra can do Shlump, Utah will do Lucid, that's fine. So I was super, super nervous about that Shlump set because it was like, I was only 3 months into actually DJing. I was like, I love Wakan. I live, breathe everything Wakan. Like Wakan Festival, Liquid Stranger. Like I had done like a 6-month Wakan run, right, or a 6-week Wakan run right before like everything shut down. So I was like so excited about this Shlump set. I put everything into it. It was like a huge milestone for me. And then they hit me up back like a couple months later, and Shlump had another live stream, so I recorded another set for him. And then back in April, I want to say, I get a call from his manager, and he was like, "Hey, you know, we really love the work you do. We were wondering if you'd want to do, you know, we need custom visuals. We're really trying to revamp the project. Do you want to make our visuals, and do you want to do our live DJ stuff for us? Do you want to, you know, we have Forbidden Kingdom coming up. You want to do that?" And I was just like, what? I was like, this is literally my dream. This is like Wakan VJ and motion designer. I was like, this is literally like Shlump. I just saw you on tour. Like, it was mind blowing to me. And I was so fucking nervous, but they just really liked what they saw. And that first initial stream kept coming back. And then, yeah, now I made his custom visual pack. And now I'm touring with him. And now we're building shows together. And it's just, it's weird from that one little live stream in the middle of fucking quarantine led me here.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know, you know?
Yeah, you really don't.
I want to talk a little bit about process. When you're thinking about a live stream set versus an in-person live gig, how do you think about those? And what are maybe the differences in your process?
So to be honest, my process has pretty much been the same through a lot of them, because all of my live stream mixes, I just record through OBS. I just, you know, straight resume to OBS, record it. I don't edit it. I don't try to fix any like quote unquote mess ups. It's just straight freestyle flow. So really the only thing that was transitioning to live shows is making sure, you know, if it's a big stage that my content looks okay. And just trying to, like, I guess more so not take over the whole screen, because working with live streams, you are the only visual aspect. And then you go to a festival or a show and you have lights and lasers, and that's just a whole other experience, you know? So it's like trying to figure out how not to be so flashy, not to be so crazy the whole entire time, and be more cohesive with a live event and lasers and all of that. But overall, it's pretty much like the same process. I just plug in, do my thing, and I'm out. So that's why the live streams were so easy, because it was just me mixing, recording, swapping some audio in Premiere Pro, and sending it out. So it's been easy in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. When you start playing these events where you're, you know, cooperating with lighting, lasers, and the whole rest of the production, there is a bit of a push and a pull and coordination that you start to have to think about. Were there any other like lessons learned or realizations or changes of perspective that you had over the last year being at more live events and some of these larger festival environments?
Yeah, I learned that there are so many levels to this, and that like I feel like I'm such a baby, and then I want to buy more software. I want to be more prepped. I want to make sure my content looks so like crispy on those screens, you know, and it's a lot more processing that goes into it, and a lot more money you have to go into it. So like I finally invested in Chaser, and then I'm going to get stage flow and, you know, show control and all those things that really help bring that live experience to life. It just, when you first get into this, those aren't the things you usually think about. And you're just like, I want to make visuals. I want to do this. And then you get into it and you're like, there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of things you have to learn. There's a lot that you really have to consider if you want everything to look nice, cohesive. And then even going to festivals and seeing some of the visual artists, like, you know, Eminent, like y'all are crazy. And it's just like the synchronicity of everything. It's just like, wow, I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn. But it makes me want to learn it, you know, it makes me excited because I see there's so many opportunities, and that event production is just getting bigger and bigger. and it's literally your creativity is your limitations. So that's one of the things I've really learned this past year is I'm just getting started.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. I feel the same way. I've been doing this for a little while. But yeah, every time I go to a gig and see somebody else do their thing, you learn something about, a different way you could be doing it, or like, oh, they got this neat trick or this tool that makes their life easier. And yeah, I'm just spending every paycheck on more shit for the next show, it seems like.
That's what's cool about VJing is like there's no actual like handbook for it, so everyone kind of just like figures out their own way. So it's like you get to exchange those little tricks and learn new things and just build your workflow up better. So it's just wild to see what people come up with.
Yeah, that's like the pro and the con of this whole thing is like there is no right way to do it, but it's really hard to find out like the right way to do it.
Yeah, really.
Which is part of why I'm doing this. I'm trying to help people share all of their unique perspectives on this, so that people can take little bits from everybody and make their own new and exciting way. Hell yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you, how has life been now after the return of shows? Can you give us some like highlights and lowlights from life out in the real world?
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely been an adjustment. I will say the live streams were such an important era because you got a lot of great feedback and you got live feedback, and you got to see the reactions from people and just like, wow, that's a crazy visual, or I love this part, or like, go VJ Kobra, and just like that community of being in a group chat and everyone cheering each other on and just being able to highlight like, yes, they really like this. I can zone in on this type of visual and they love it. I really miss that feedback, and not getting that anymore. Like it's, at the end of the day, it's not about praise. It's just trying to like be better. And now that I'm doing more shows, it's harder to pinpoint what people really, really like and what people don't. And at the end of the day, I'm just playing and hoping, and here afterwards, oh, that was a really cool visual. But it's just so different. It's so different from having all of that feedback and all of that encouragement. But now it's cool because it's like I go into the real life and people do recognize me, whether it's from like my TikTok videos or just they follow Shlump and they know my work, or they see me during live streams. And to be people like, hey, I love your visuals. I see your work. Thank you for everything you do. Like those moments are so special. Those moments are like the in-person recognition of like, I see you, I see what you're doing, and I fuck with that. Like those make it worth it, honestly. But it's definitely been a transition. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. That's a interesting thing I hadn't thought about so much, is that you mentioned at the beginning the live stream set, like the visuals have so much more prominence because there is no other lighting, there's no lasers, like the visuals are the visuals, and then there's the music, obviously. But you're 50% of the show, if not, at that stage. And that changes. And you also do have the chat feature there where you're there interacting with the crowd, like they can speak directly to you during the show, which is not a thing that you can do really. I mean, kind of, but not so much. They're more focused on like getting lit and dancing during the live ones.
Well, even when people try to talk to you during a show, I'm like, I'm not trying to talk to you. Like,
yeah, it's like, hey, shit to do. Yeah, that's true too. Most of the live streams are really recorded, so you can sit there and hang out in the chat and enjoy the show with everybody. What do you think the scene for live streams is like now? Kind of, I don't want to jinx it, say post pandemic, but like in this later stage of the pandemic where we're not really, where live shows are back. And do you see that as like a viable option for maybe a VJ who loves the craft, but maybe doesn't want to travel or, things like that isn't really for life on the road.
Yeah, so I mean, I see the live streams were something that like a lot of people didn't really think about before, and since they became so prevalent during COVID, I don't really see them going away. I still do some live streams, like they trickle in here and there, nowhere near the same rate, obviously, but I still think that there's something that are going to stick around, but people are going to use them for more like for more big events or big festivals or like weekly showcases. And I think that if a VJ is trying to get in, even if they're trying to get into this or they don't want to be on the road, I really think live streams are a viable option because there's a lot of people who have full length mixes that they want something for, even for YouTube. It doesn't have to be on Twitch or anything like that. Like being able to make those mixes and tweak, even if you want to tweak them how you want and really perfect your craft that way. I mean, the money wise, you're not going to be getting really paid as much, and that's one issue. But I still think it's great to like perfect your craft and get your work out there and show people real live examples of like, hey, this is my mixing style. This is what you'll see at a show. This is what I can do. And the people who know about like technique and all of that, they'll be able to see that as well. So I think it's great for like advertising yourself, working with artists, getting your name out there, just building those connections. Even that is super, beneficial, useful.
Yeah, I mean, any like labels, artists, if you're watching this, it's much more interesting than a fucking visualizer with some like just fucking audio waveform and your label logo. Like have somebody do a mix for you real quick. Come on.
It connects it so much better. It's just like even like when things are synced nicely and it's just you can tell someone's actually doing it. Like you can't make a live mix and do like one VJ loop after another. If you're actually live mixing it and connecting it to the music, people resonate with that so much more. And they'll be like, oh, that's a sick visualizer. Or even if they're like having a good time, on a Friday night and are on shrooms or something, like, let me look up that video and I want to watch that. So it's it helps both people.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. One thing I really wanted to talk to you about, because it's something I really admire that you're doing, is your content on TikTok and your approach to educational content in general. Can you tell us a little bit about your perspective on that, what your mission is there, and what you're doing with educational content and with TikTok?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said earlier, getting into this, how I just went on a deep dive into the web and how hard it is to find VJ information. It's ridiculously hard. You have to like piece together little certain pieces, and it delays your journey so much because you're just trying to figure this shit out and you're kind of waiting for your big break for someone to be like, hey, this is how you do this. And there's just so many little things that popped up in my VJ journey where it would delay me because I'd just be like, okay, I can't figure this out. I'm not going to do it. And then all it takes is some simple video of, hey, here's how you resize your content, or here's how you convert your clips the right way for Instagram. Or, hey, this is what VJing is. This is just mixing clips together. Like breaking it down super simple into little tiny sections. I mean, even kind of like how Resolume does their tutorials, how they're very basic, very like one little thing at a time. And I saw TikTok as a great opportunity to spread that knowledge, to reach a bunch of people at once. And for anybody who's actually interested in this, they should have a place to be able to go and be like, how do I do these little problems? How do I solve this little issue? Or can I ask this live person a question that I'm stuck on? That information helps a lot, and there's not a lot of it out there. There's a lot of people who will gatekeep it and don't believe in sharing it at all. And I'm just like, at the end of the day, I believe, I believe everybody has a right to be creative. Everybody has a right to go after their dreams and do what they want. And people should have access to that. And if, all the VJs who have helped me before, all the VJs who have lended their time, their knowledge, I feel like it's only right to give that back and to help the new wave and help them come out. And then maybe they'll think of me when, they're on their journey and be like, oh, Kobra helped me. And that's pretty cool. So it just feels nice to give back to people pretty much.
Oh yeah, I feel that. Pays to be nice, pays to be helpful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm all about that. That's why we're here. That's why we're
Yeah,
doing this.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I appreciate your channel and your page and what you're doing so much. So
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it.
of course.
Uh yeah, man. Let's see. Read through my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Let's jump into a little bit of the rapid fire section, which usually doesn't actually go that fast. But let's hop into it. Yeah. So what VJ software do you use? I think we mentioned it a few times, but
Resolute Arena, the best one.
yes, indeed. What version are you on? Are you on 7?
I'm still on 6.
6.
Yeah, I invested in other software for making the upgrade to 7. I've been playing with 7 though, so I think I'm going to finally do the upgrade.
You'll get there. 6 is solid. 6 is solid.
Yeah,
don't let anybody tell you different.
It hasn't been buggy with me at all. It does fine. So
yeah. Hell yeah. What is your VJ controller?
So I used to use the original APC 40, the big fucking one. Yeah, you saw it for Forbidden Kingdom. I brought that guy out. But now I use Innovation Launch Control XL for my traveling gigs. Just because I love the faders. I don't use a lot of buttons. So, and yeah, I got my little knobs, all of that. So the launch control is perfect to just throw in my backpack and go. So I don't want one of those MK2s like everybody has. I don't want to be like one of those guys. So I went with the launch control instead.
Hell yeah, launch control. That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's Drew Best's favorite controller. Yeah. The legend. What is your little trick or tool or something that you use all the time? What's the VJ Kobra secret weapon?
I just keep my shit so basic. Like when I actually think about it, I guess like the audio reactive cue rotate, because all of my stuff is so like psychedelic. I love using audio reactive cue rotate. And my little trails mapped to my knobs. That's one of my favorite ones. But honestly, like most of my shit isn't even that extreme. It's like I don't even have any cool tricks if I'm being real.
Nice. But you do use a good amount of audio reactivity in your sets?
Yeah, for the most part.
Nice.
That's like I want to get into more like making actual like loops that are very audio generative or audio reactive. I have like a couple that have packs like that where they have really cool ones. But I need to get a freaking audio interface because it's just like unless it's super clean audio, it just doesn't. But with like the actual audio or the cue rotate one, it seems to look nice, and I just love how it looks. I love the colors, all the colors.
The colors, Duke. The colors.
All the colors all the time.
Yep.
We may have just covered this, but is there a Resolute effect that has your heart?
That has kaleidoscope all day, kaleidoscope and strobe. Just I was told that.
All right, we're gonna have to cut that out. I won't let you do that to yourself. No.
Comic Sans of VJ is what they say. No, I think I love Trails. Trails is one of my favorite. What is another one? Honestly, Trails, and of course the typical mirror. People hate mirror. I love the symmetry of it. I love using mirror. I'll use it all day long. I don't even care.
Fuck them. Mirror is useful.
But look, it just makes it. People look, like I said, people love the symmetry. Okay.
So, symmetry is solid. Yeah. Who in the industry do you think deserves a shout out?
Can I do a couple of them?
Yeah, go for it.
So first off, Peen Poon, absolutely killing it with whether he's in the NFT game, but he's a super talented VJ. I absolutely love his visuals. Actualized visuals, David out in Denver. His work is amazing. Same with Papa Bear, Glass Crane. There are so many of them that I love. Literally the whole MoGraph Mafia. Digital D. I have so many DJ friends, and they all deserve the attention. Kelly Finn, Taylor Drew, the one up Pixel Dust that you just had on, all of them, all of the homies.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and you got I'll give you a little plug. On your site, you've got your resources page that has a massive list of people to check out. So
Yes.
Go there, click all the links, follow everybody.
Yes.
We just kind of went down a list, but maybe outside the VJ space or something. Is there a visual artist that you're hyped on?
So God, there's just so many, honestly. Like I said, I mean, a lot of them are VJs and content creators. So like Cronus Project, he's super fucking cool. Individual Jive. I've just got to meet like a few of these people in person, and they're super fucking nice. God, what's another one that really has blown my mind? Why can't I think of her name right now? But she does Glitch Girls, and her work is so freaking cool. And she's done a lot of NFTs. And from the work she's done with NFTs, she's got to make like a $10,000 donation to domestic violence victims, which I think is amazing. So the people who really, you know, are in this scene, making beautiful art and then giving back to people, I appreciate that so much. So those type of artists, amazing. They deserve all the shout outs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of pretty incredible things going on, especially with like these NFT projects getting some pretty nice revenue and then turning that around to, you know, do something. What about a musical artist?
Oh, Meduso. I got to do a last minute visual set with him at Soundhaven, and his music is absolutely beautiful. He's one of the greatest guys. I absolutely love his work because he makes some of his own visuals as well. Super creative content creator, and one of the nicest dudes ever. Meduso, obviously my man Shlump. And then, I mean, my whole Fract Alliance crew that I'm with, all of them amazing, amazing artists. They're a huge part of my journey, so I love them.
Is there a book you're reading right now that you shout out, or that you have read that blew your mind?
See, nothing recently, to be honest. There was like, I did read this book called Creating Money because I'm very into just like abundance, man. Like I tell people, I'm manifesting my dream life. I made all my vision boards of me being at festivals. And Creating Money, that was actually a really cool book because it's just talking about, you know, letting abundance come into your life, reframing your mind, and, you know, realizing you're worth so much more, and that you have all of these like little subconscious beliefs in your mind that block all of these amazing opportunities from coming in, whether it be like work opportunities or money or love opportunities, anything. It's not just related to money. So Creating Money, that was probably one of the better books that I've read. I love that book.
Nice. Yeah, powerful stuff. You really got to believe that the opportunities are there for you, and then you'll see them. They're already there. You just got to know to look for them.
You got to prep and be ready, and then they'll just pop in your lap and you literally just have to grab them. So you just got to be ready for it.
There you go. That is an important step, I think, that a lot of manifestation talk leaves out, is that it really helps to act like these opportunities are coming and prepare for them. So when they do appear, you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, look at that Base Lab live stream. You know, I had those little preparations, and then if I had not done that work, I wouldn't have ever signed up for that live stream. It's just those little opportunities and being ready for it and not being scared of it. Like I'll admit I didn't self-sabotage stuff because I thought I wasn't ready, and I've missed out on great opportunities just because I was scared. And it's like, no, you just got to take it, see what happens, and it can lead to some really cool stuff.
Hell yeah. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? We're just blinking pixels at people on drugs anyway. It's like, it's not life or death here. Just go for it.
Exactly. I feel like, I've fallen into that trap of just overthinking it and just being like, oh my God, I messed up right there. It's like, nobody notices. Nobody knows what they all think it looks cool. Nobody's going to remember it. It's not that big.
They think it's part of the show. It's all good.
Exactly. It's just like knowing another VJ sees that and knowing the VJ is probably like, she just fucked up. I saw that. That's the part that kills me is the other VJ's opinions.
Yeah, we're the only ones that notice. Exactly. I have a hard time like going to concerts because I just like watch the visuals too much.
Yeah, I see the same like free DJ loops on the screen just over and over, and I'm like, oh, the same Beeple pack that everybody has. Nice.
They're everywhere.
It's just funny seeing them at huge festivals, and I'm like, y'all really don't have another DJ better than this? You just literally the free pack that okay, whatever. If you guys need me, here's my card.
It bugs me when I get like a visual pack from an artist that is just a Beeple pack with like their logo on it or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, please, I don't want to have to VJ this. People are gonna think I did that.
Yeah, for real. Make me look bad. Oh God.
I gotta tell all the other VJs like this isn't my fault.
This isn't me. I swear. Because like you can't let me mix my own content in just a little bit, please.
Yeah, well, just a little. Amazing. No shade to any of those artists, of course. Yeah, no shade. But call us. Yeah. What's that piece of advice that you would give to somebody who wants to get into this? Like, where do they start? And what's that one like most important thing that might help them be successful?
I think one of the things is honestly just being kind to yourself and not getting so discouraged so easily. And just understanding that even though once you get into DJing and you finally understand it, it does make a lot of sense. But those first initial steps, in my opinion, were hard and they were very discouraging. But just know, like, once you push past that, once it starts to click, it opens up a whole world where you can make and create anything you want. And just don't get discouraged. Don't give up because you can't make it past that learning curve. You know, it's a hard learning curve. But just keep pushing through. Just get through it. Once you get through it, you'll be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did this. And then after that, just push your content out into the world. Just do whatever you need to do. Spread it far and wide. You never know who will fuck with your stuff. You literally never know. So just get past that learning curve, push your stuff out there, and then hope for the best and know that opportunities are coming for you because there's a lot of people who wanted to do that. They wanted to push their stuff out. They wanted to be a VJ and they never did it. So if you're one of the people who does get over that hump, your chances are way higher to actually succeed and do it. So just do it. Just actually do it.
Hell yeah. Take that first step. Get into it.
Yep.
Awesome. And where can people find your work or get in touch with you?
So you can go to vjkobra.com. I have a lot of my portfolio stuff on there. There's an order form on the website to contact me for live visuals, commission work, whatever you want. You can also find me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all under VJ Kobra.
VJ Kobra, everywhere that it matters.
Yep, VJ
amazing.
Kobra, okay.
Hell yeah. VJ Kobra, thank you so much for being on the show. This was an amazing time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hell yeah.